Solving other types of equations algebraically. How would you solve this?
I don't know.
3x to the fourth equals 48x squared. What would you do first to solve this?
We squared out of it?
Subtract one from the other.
Kind of. How about if we subtract this 48x squared to this side so that it's all set equal to 0?
We could do that, I guess, if you like.
So 3x to the fourth minus 48x squared equals 0. Now what can you do from there? What can you do from there?
What's the point of Veterans Day if we don't get a sketch?
What can you do from there?
Your classes are just shorter. Like,
Guys, focus. What can you do from there? Can you
you
take stuff out of all of it?
take an x squared?
You can take an x squared. What else? Can 3 go into 48?
Yeah, so 3x squared.
Okay, so if I take 3x squared out, I'm left with x squared minus what? What's 48 divided by 3?
48 divided by 3 is probably like 16.
It is like 16.
Good job, Alan.
What is this called right here? This is a special type of factorization. X squared minus 16 is a special type of factorization. Do you know what type?
Distributive.
You're on the right track. Not a perfect square trinomial, but they are both perfect squares. And what's that sign in middle? Subtraction. It's also called, how about a difference
Different squares.
of squares?
Oh,
I'm a scrub.
How would you write a difference of squares then?
X.
Oh my god. You had to break them down.
X minus 4, x plus 4. Now, remember, you have to always solve for x. So I set each individual item equal to x. 3x squared equal, or set equal to 0. X minus 4 equals 0, and x plus 4 equals 0. So, x equals negative 4, x equals 4, x equals 0. I have 3 possible solutions. 0, negative 4, and 4. Then you would want to check those answers to see which one actually works, or if all 3 of them actually work. So you would plug them in to the original equation. So if I do this and say 3 times 0 squared equals 48 times 0 squared, so 0 equals 0. That one works. Plug in 3 times 4 squared equals 48 times, oh, I'm sorry, not squared. This is to the 4th. Squared. What is 4 to the 4th? 4 to the 4th is 256 times 3 is 768. And 4 squared is 16 times 48, which is 768. Look at that, that's beautiful. So 4 works as well. If you plug negative 4 in, and you do need to check all of these, you're going to get the same answer. They're all going to work. Because when you square negative 4, it's going to come out to 768 again, and this one's going to come out to 768. Boom, boom.
What
All
you
3
doing at
work.
the sign?
Oh my god.
What?
Just checking.
Yep.
Plugs over back
You have to
there.
check your answers. You must check your work. Okay, let's talk about solving this. Let's solve 2x cubed minus 6x squared plus 6x minus 18 equals 0. How would you go about solving that? This starts with a G.
No, it doesn't.
You need
The
to,
greatest
no, there's no fractions. You need to group this.
Oh.
When there are 4 terms, you have to do grouping. Okay? What can come out of 2x cubed minus 6x squared?
X squared. 2x.
2x squared. Giving me x minus 3. What can come out of 6x minus 18? 6. Giving me x minus 3. I know I have grouped this correctly because these are the same. These combine together. 2x squared comes together plus 6. Okay? And then these represent 1 unit, x minus 3. From there, you will set each unit equal to 0. So 2x squared plus 6 equals 0. X minus 3 equals 0.
There's so many people in heels up there.
You get x equals 3. You get 2x squared equals negative 6. You get x squared equals negative 3. Take the square root. What happens when you take the square root of a negative? What do you have to pull out of there?
I couldn't even done writing down the first one.
Is it a 1?
Out of 1 out of 1.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about.
A what? Yes, an I. An I, because the I represents the negative. You have to pull out an I. Good job, Alex. Okay, so I have an I radical.
You
I-
can't steal my work out.
Oh, wasn't it Alex that said it? Was it Drew that said it?
Yeah, it was Drew.
Maybe
Oh.
we said it at the same time.
I didn't even say anything.
I
I
thought.
was like 0.
So you're going to get
You said I,
plus
and then you said
or
you
minus
said
I radical 3. Now, your two solutions are 3 and plus or minus I radical 3.
I'll take the credit.
Well,
God knows you.
Wait,
Three
did you just
solutions.
repeat the same problem on the right side?
Are you?
You did like 786,
No.
768, and 768.
the rest repeated. That's on the
Yes.
first one.
now on the first
I know,
one,
because you
I
were so
had to
freaking
plug
fast.
all of these back in. It just so happens that negative 4 to the 4th is the same as 4 to the 4th.
Come on. Step up your game.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm asking questions.
You don't need that.
Let's try this. How do you solve x to the 4th minus 3x squared plus 2 equals 0? We die? Is that what you just...
Yeah, because it's complicated.
It is complicated.
I said we just
And your book does this in a very interesting way.
How's it do it?
Okay? It's going to say,
What's the scoop?
it's going to say, let's let this letter U represent x squared.
Oh, I can't do that.
Where do you even get the U from? Alright.
They make it up.
I know, but like just like in this one over here, where do you get the I from? That doesn't make any sense.
Because the I is the negative that's inside. I is always a negative inside of a radical. And you always have to take it out.
Alright.
Okay? This one, they're just saying, let us represent U as x squared so that we can break this down a little bit further. So what they're going to do is they're going to say, okay, x squared
Because it's a U.
squared, okay, because they took x fourth and broke it down into x squared raised to the second power. Because when you raise a power to a power, what do you do with those powers?
Use them to your advantage.
You multiply them. You multiply them. You multiply them. So 2 times 2 is 4. That's how I would get x to the 4th, okay? Then they say minus 3 times x squared, okay, plus 2 equals 0. Now they're going to substitute a u in for anywhere there's an x squared so that it makes it factorable for us. So they're going to say u squared minus 3u plus 2 equals 0. This way I can now factor. Can you factor u squared minus 3u plus 2? Yes. Okay. What multiplies to give me 2 adds to give me negative 3. Negative 2 and negative 1. Now look, now I have made it so that I can solve. U minus 1 equals 0, so u equals 1. U minus 2 equals 0, so u equals 2. Okay? Now, what you have to do is you have to check these solutions because you have to plug them back in. Okay? You replace u with x squared and you solve for x squared.
Wait, where'd the U come from?
I said I'm going to make u equal to x squared. I'm just going to do it. So now you have to remember that this isn't technically your answer because you have to take the square root of these answers for it to be your answer. So you're going to take u squared and you're going to take these numbers and plug them back into setting them equal to x squared. So x squared equals 1 because u itself is x squared, so I plug this in. And x squared equals 2. Take the square root, take the square root, take the square root, take the square root. X equals plus or minus 1. X equals plus or minus radical 2. Now, here's a trick to all of this as well. Because there is a fourth root, I should have 4 answers. I do. A positive 1, negative 1, positive radical 2, negative radical 2. So I should have as many answers that are represented by the power.
Yeah, really?
No. Okay, last one, and then we'll save the rest for tomorrow. If I have radical 2x plus 7, we'll do 4 examples today and 4 examples tomorrow. Radical 2x plus 7 minus x equals 2.
Yeah. God?
How do we solve that?
Welcome back, Parker. Oh my goodness. You missed a lot.
What
I didn't know you were gone.
Yeah, you missed, we involved a U.
How do we solve radical 2x plus 7 minus x equals 2? What do you need to do first?
There's
obviously
subtract stuff.
Okay, not subtract 2. Here's what you want in this one. Josh.
Add X.
Yes, you want to add x because I want to get the radical by itself.
Yeah.
Okay? So I'm going to add x to both sides, and you end up getting radical 2x plus 7 equals x plus 2. How do you get rid of a radical? You gotta square it. So if I square this side of the equation, I'm also going to square the other side. This cancels out, giving you 2x plus 7 equals x plus 2 squared. Okay, remember I want to solve this. Okay, so what do you think I need to do next?
Just finish halfway and then
How about if we FOIL this?
leave. First, outer, inner, last.
First, outer, inner, last. X plus
Hey, we
2,
all do it, alright?
x plus 2. First, what's x times x squared? Or what's x times x? It's x squared. First, outer, what's 2 times x? 2x. Inner, what's 2 times x? 2x. And then plus 4. So now I have 2x plus 7 equals x squared plus 4x plus 4. Now what am I going to do?
Hold up. Okay. Gotcha.
There's so much chocolate on my arm. Equal, it's a
Focus,
zero.
focus.
Yeah, chocolate on your hands.
Yes, I want to subtract 2x
Actually, no.
and I want to subtract 7 from both sides so that it's set equal to 0. So 0 equals x squared plus 2x minus 3. Is that factorable? What can multiply to give me negative 3 add to give me 2? Okay, so positive 3, negative 1. So then x equals, or I'm sorry, x minus 1 equals 0, so x equals 1, and x plus 3 equals 0, so x equals negative 3. Okay, those are the 4 types of problems we'll focus on tonight.